Hi y'all, I'm Brenda with Blessings, and Brad, welcome to my garden. It is a beautiful day that God has blessed us with, and I love working in my garden, especially in the spring and the fall. And I'm excited because today I'm going to be planting some pepper plants. Now, I'm going to combine this video with a video I made earlier in the spring. So this is just video, it's just going to really be kind of a spring video showing you some of the other times I've worked in my garden. So I'll try to pull all these together and make one nice video. I've got some things that are already growing and doing well and moving along, and then I'll show you those, and then I'm going to be planting some new plants today. So I'm going to get started working in this beautiful, beautiful weather today here in Northeast Texas, and I'm ready to get started. So it's about an hour before sundown, and I'm out here in my garden doing just a few things for my spring garden. I've already got a few things planted, so I'm going to give a quick update of my garden. And then today I'm going to be planting strawberries in my strawberry pot and lettuce. So I need to get started because I'm going to lose daylight. So I would like to maybe give you a little bit of a tour. First of all, if you'll notice in the background over here, you can see our fences down. And we did have a big storm maybe a couple of weeks ago now, and it was just straight winds, but it literally took down a huge section of our fence. This where my fence went down, and you can see we've just got some orange temporary fence up to keep the dogs in, but eventually we'll be repairing that fence and replacing it. But for now, you can see right through to the churchyard, and if you're looking through, that's our church ground where we have like a volleyball net and then a basketball court for the kids. It's kind of a play area for the kids over there, but that is part of our church property behind the house. So now I'm going to give you a little close-up of some of the things that have already been planted and how they're doing, and then we'll get started on planting some new things. These are my onions, and they're starting to look really good. They're probably not ready to pick quite yet, but they're coming along, and they've been in the ground since early January, one of my earlier videos. But besides needing a little weeding done, the onions have kind of perked up and they're growing, and I might even be able to pull one for a green onion if I really needed one soon. The empty spot that's here is going to be where I'm going to eventually plant strawberries, and then they'll be growing on my arbor here that's attached to this bed. And but I won't plant those till later in April, the end of April, early May, probably before I'll put those up, because I've had too many experiences where I planted here in this area. We're in zone 8A, and I've planted early, and the frost, you'll almost always get a frost, or you have to constantly work at keeping them covered up when the weather dips cool again. So we'll still have some cool nights here in Northeast Texas, so I'm going to wait a while before planting tomatoes. Let me give you next, let's take a look at my blueberry plants. Okay, Rod has moved my blueberry plants. I'm afraid he didn't like where I put them. He said it was going to be hard to mow around them. So he's moved them over here, and as long as they're close to each other, that's going to be fine with me. What I will say is I'm excited to see that they are starting to bud out. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit and if you can see that. So I'm excited to see little green leaves on my blueberry plants. So hopefully I'll get some blueberries. I know it's my first year, so we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully they're starting to not bud out, but I believe it's just they're starting to get leaves on them. The leaves are coming out. So as soon as it starts blooming, that's when I will be fertilizing them with a special acid type fertilizer, which I showed you in a previous video. And if you didn't see my video where I was planting my blueberries, you certainly can go and check on that and see that. Here's the other one. But as you can see, I'm getting lots of little leaves on them, so I'm excited. Something I've never grown before and something I'm excited to grow. These are plants that my sister gave me, and I think they're cabbages. And when I say that, she gave me cabbages and she gave me broccoli, and they weren't all labeled. There was a label or two, but they weren't all labeled. So I think these are cabbages, but they may have gotten mixed up. So this is either going to be cabbage or broccoli, because that's the two plants that she gave me. They actually are looking pretty good. I need to get in here and water them today, but I'm pretty pleased with how they're doing. This is the bed where I grew my turnips last year, and these plants, I believe, are broccoli. So that's what I'm counting on, is that they're broccoli. There might be a cabbage plant in there somewhere, but these are almost mystery plants. But I'm pretty sure that these are the broccoli plants that my sister actually grew from seed in her greenhouse. So I'm excited to grow them. I usually am very successful here with cabbage and broccoli. So I'm excited to see if I'll get some produce out of that. That'll be good to eat later this spring. If you haven't seen my previous videos, you may not have seen my strawberry pots that I purchased last year. And they're like this to begin with, and then they'll stack. And I guess I could keep stacking them, but I only want them about 3 high. Now, I bought strawberries plants the exact same day I bought my blueberry bushes, but I didn't get them planted that first day, and then the weather just turned bitter cold for weeks, and then life got busy, and I went to see the grandbabies, and it took a while before I could get them planted. When I finally got them planted, then we had another spell of super cold weather, and I think I just rushed them. They weren't hardened off enough. And if you don't know what that means, when you have plants that have been inside for a long time, you need to gradually get them used to the outside weather. And I'm afraid I was in a hurry, and I just put them out, and then the cold weather got them. And they just weren't ready for that cold of a temperature. Even though they're supposed to hold up to colder temperatures, they didn't do well. So I'm planting strawberries. Now, I planted strawberries in these last year, but last year they didn't do well either. So my husband says, give up, but I'm not giving up. I'm going to try one more time to plant strawberries in my strawberry pots. These strawberry plants look really healthy. So if I kill these, then I just am not a strawberry farmer, I guess. All right, I have both of my strawberry plants, pots replanted. And as I said, there are 18 in each, or 9 plants in each pot. So it's going to give me 18 plants. All right, those are planted and watered in, and hopefully this time I'm going to be successful. Now, it's almost dark. The sun's going down really fast, but before it goes down, I still think I have time to plant my lettuce. The 2 types of lettuce that I'm planning to grow here, this lettuce right here, it's kind of I like this lettuce. It's called lechuga, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it kind of has a little bit of a reddish tint to it. It's not red leaf lettuce, but it seems to be a type of red leaf lettuce, which I always enjoy that. So, and I've got at least, I think maybe most of these might make it if I plant them. So I've got 6. So I'm gonna just spread these out, starting about right there, and maybe I can get all 6. I'm planting them pretty close together. That's kind of one of the concepts of a square foot garden, is you plant things a little closer together in your small space. And lettuce is one of those things that I have been successful growing year after year. I've even planted the seeds directly into the ground. I'm gonna break up the roots a little bit and then just plant them the same depth that they were in their container. But I am gonna break those roots up just a little bit. I've kind of found that if you don't break up your roots, sometimes on some of these nursery plants that were grown, they just sometimes are so root bound that the roots just get stuck and can't spread out and get healthy. Now this is salad bow lettuce here. And oh my goodness, let me show you this. This is what I'm talking about. See how root bound that is? And if I don't break that up, that is not going to grow a healthy plant. So I'm gonna have to break that up a little bit before I put it in the ground. And I just kind of pull it apart at the bottom, break it up on the sides a little bit. Just get those roots where they're freed up from being in that square shape, the container. That one was pretty root bound. And this, I'm gonna leave this little marker here so I'll remember. These are called salad bowl. This one is very root bound as well. So I'm gonna kind of just break those little roots loose so they can grow to their heart's content. I prepared this soil the other day. Rod helped me, and we came out here and I added some compost and some black cow, composted cow manure, so to kind of spruce it up for the spring. That is all I need to do except to water these in. So I'm gonna water these in, but I'm excited to get out here and get some more things growing in my garden. I still have some other things I plan to plant, but they may wait till after April the 15th. In my area, at least in the past, April 15th was considered what they call the last frost date. So it would be the when you were fairly certain that you would no longer have a frost on your plants. And I usually wait till after that frost date, unless it's plants like lettuce and cabbage and broccoli and those plants that need to grow when it's cooler, in the cooler temperatures. These plants will be gone by May. It will get too hot here in Northeast Texas to grow any of these plants. So basically about May, I will be able to I will have harvested all I'm gonna harvest, and then I'll pull this up and maybe plant some pepper plants or something else in this location for the rest of the summer. I don't know if you can see, but there's something missing in my garden. And if you've not seen one of my former videos, there used to be a little short picket fence that went around my garden. And we originally put that up to keep the dogs out, because the dogs would get into my raised beds and dig. But they have stopped doing that, and the fence was getting old and rickety, so we decided to take it down. Makes it easier for Rod to mow and take care of the backyard. So we've taken down my picket fence, which I kind of miss it, but it was starting to look tacky. So I guess you can see in the background our fence is back up, and that's a good thing. And now I don't have to worry too much about my dogs getting out, but I appreciate all the work that the men at the church did to get that put back up. Now we're going to look at some of my plants. These are the cabbage plants, which earlier in the video I was calling them mystery plants because I wasn't sure whether they were cabbage or broccoli that my sister had given me, but they appear to be coming on really great, and I was correct in that they are cabbage plants. So I'm excited. They all look pretty healthy. These are my onions, and they are definitely doing awesome, and they're at the perfect stage to pull and eat with a pot of pinto beans or something. My broccoli plants are doing better, but they still have they're a little scrawny, and just depending on the weather, whether I'll be able to keep them going, and hopefully they won't bolt before they have time to make some heads for us to pick. I am really, really excited about my blueberry bushes. They're leafed out, and now they're actually starting to bud. So while I'm out here today, I'm probably going to fertilize them, but see if I can zoom in and we can see some of those buds. My lettuce is really doing well. In fact, I can get down here and maybe even harvest some of it today. I didn't bring anything out to put it in, but I definitely am going to be able to harvest some lettuce today. These are the strawberry plants that I showed you earlier in this video that I was planting, and I said, you know, third time's a charm, and so this time they really are doing well. I even have a couple of strawberries already. In fact, I saw one ripening today that I can even pick. So I'm excited. Maybe I'm going to start getting strawberries for the first time, and I'm excited about that. This is a look at my herb bed, really. It's mostly different kinds of thyme, but I have a rosemary and some chives planted in here too. My chives came back from last year. I had planted them last year and they came back. And my rosemary isn't doing very well, but I think I had a fire ant bed that got in there and affected it. I'm gonna try to fertilize maybe a little bit and see what I can do to help that along, make my rosemary do better. If you don't have fire ants where you live, you are a blessed person. I've tried all kinds of things, and in a vegetable garden, you have to be more careful because you don't want to use poisons on them that are harmful to humans or pets. I have used some poison, Penicillin, I think might be the brand name, which is okay to put on gardens, but I don't like to use that. My best trick is just to come out here and get my pitchfork and stir that bed up regularly, and then they finally get tired of being disturbed all the time and they decide to move on. This is the second time though I've stirred this bed and they're still building back. So, and sometimes my problem is they move to another one of my beds. So I spend a lot of time stirring up ant beds. Now I'm ready to plant my pepper plants, and basically I'm going to plant two different varieties. I'm going to do some sweet banana peppers, and I'm going to plant some mild jalapeno peppers. These are my sweet banana peppers, and I'm going to plant them here. Now on this end and on that edge of my bed, I'm going to eventually plant pole beans, and I'm going to have trellises for them to grow up on. So I'm leaving a space to grow my beans here and over there. So my pepper plants are gonna kind of go in this area right here. Thank you for coming along with me today while I was working in my garden. I'm excited to get my pepper plants planted, and I hope you enjoyed my earlier work in my garden as I was getting some plants out early on, and I'm excited to see that they're making progress. And I will see you the next time I'm in my garden, on my porch, or in my kitchen.